There are meals that hold a unique place in our hearts. You know the feeling when you associate the meal with a place, person, or an event, and you inevitably think of it when you have the food in front of you. And most often, it's something joyful. For me, tomato soup is one of those dishes, even though it's linked with a sorrowful experience. Salam, I'm Nile, and this is tomato soup, my comforting dish. I was 10 years old when I had my first close encounter with the concept of death. It was a time when my grandfather fell seriously ill and we visited him frequently in the hospital. I cannot recall exactly how it started, but there was a vending machine for hot beverages in the hospital, and you could also order tomato soup in a cup from it. And every time we were at the hospital, I got to buy a cup of tomato soup from that vending machine. It was just a simple instant soup, but for me, this soup was truly something special. It might sound a bit peculiar now, but during that difficult time, it somehow offered me comforting warmth. Yeah, it was a source of solace back then, something that was good for me and that hasn't changed to this day. Whenever I have tomato soup in front of me, it takes me back to that time, and I don't know why, but I find strength and encouragement. And that is why, alongside this story, I would like to share my recipe for tomato soup with all of you. Alright, enough talking. Let's get started then. I've got 6 tomatoes here, and since we're slowly transitioning into the colder season, these tomatoes lack a bit in terms of flavor. I want to change that. To do so, I'm placing the tomatoes along with the rest of the vegetables in the oven. As our ingredients brown, they also intensify flavor-wise. This happens due to the famous Maillard reaction. First, I halve the tomatoes and place them on a large baking sheet. Then I add a whole bulb of garlic to the baking sheet. I have cut off the top of the garlic bulb. I generously drizzle everything with olive oil. The whole thing goes into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for approximately 60 minutes. Halfway through, I'll also add bell peppers and a carrot. While our vegetables are gaining flavor in the oven, one ingredient is still missing. One ingredient to give our soup a sweet note and loads of umami, namely onions. I intentionally didn't include the onions with the other vegetables because I'm going to caramelize them in a pot over medium heat in some oil. To do that, I'll dice a large onion and caramelize it over medium heat until it takes a lovely brown color and develops an intensely sweet aromatic flavor. Just before finishing, I'll add a tablespoon of tomato paste and let it sweat with the onions in the pot for about 2 minutes. About half an hour has passed, and as promised, we're now adding half a yellow bell pepper, half a red bell pepper, and a peeled halved carrot. These are added now because they cook more quickly. Our vegetables will continue to roast in the oven for another 30 minutes until they develop beautiful roasted colors. To infuse even more flavor into this dish, I also add fresh rosemary and fresh oregano the last couple of minutes. This is how it looks now, and our vegetables are ready to be blended. All the veggies on the baking sheet, along with their juices, go into a pot with the caramelized onions and the tomato paste and get blended. I peel the small piece of ginger beforehand and squeeze the garlic so it separates from the skin as good as I can. It's really hot. Both go into the pot as well. I'll pluck the rosemary and oregano leaves from the stem and use only the leaves. And then it's time to blend until a smooth and creamy consistency is achieved. Alright, I think I like this texture. It should suffice. However, I'm not quite satisfied with the thickness of the soup. That's why I'm going to thin it out with a liter of light chicken stock and let it simmer for approximately 10 minutes. You can of course dilute your soup with the stock of your choice, and if you prefer not to use stock, you can simply use water. Let's give it one more try and adjust seasoning if necessary, but I like the way mine is. To finish, I'll add 3 tablespoons of cream and mix thoroughly. The fat in the cream will help balance the acidity in the soup and enhance the overall flavor experience in the mouth, at least in theory. Et voila, there you have it, my version of tomato soup. We have managed to bring multiple harmonizing layers of flavor into this soup, creating a delightful, umami-rich and deeply soothing experience. Some meals hold a special place in our hearts, and this one has definitely a special place in mine. And for the precious memory's sake, today I'll serve the soup in a cup. I hope you'll give it a try. Thank you for watching, and peace be upon you. If you'd like to see more of my content, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and activate the notification bell. Click here for more videos.